Hi, my name is Shefali Deshpande, and this week I watched Pagglait. So, Pagglait is this film directed and written by Umesh Bist. It stars Sanya Malhotra Sayani Gupta, Sharib Hashmi, Rajesh Telang, Sheeba, Chaddha, Ashutosh, Rana, and a lot of other amazing actors. The cast of the film and the performances of the film are all actually very, very spot on. Not a single person is out of place, not a single person is, not performing to their best. Everyone is doing a great job, and watching everyone on screen is absolutely a pleasure. The film is more than anything a story about female emancipation and feminism. It's a feminist film, and I know that scares a lot of people, but bear with me. So the story is about this young girl who has been married only for a few months to this guy, and it's an arranged marriage, and suddenly overnight he just passes away, and now she's here in this home she barely knows, and she's a widow. She's a very young widow. So the journey of the film is this woman's journey of a young widow, and how a young widow negotiates and interacts with and deals with the world around her and the expectations that the world has from her. So we see very often the roles of sisters, mothers, wives, daughters, policewomen, even prostitutes, all kinds of female-centric roles that challenge the norms that society kind of puts on women. And we never ever see, or very rarely ever see, stories of widows or young widows especially, and their journey towards emancipation and liberation and freedom. So it's a very fresh take on feminism. It's a very fresh take on female emancipation. There's no cliche casual sex and binge drinking and endless cigarette smoking that are classic tropes nowadays to show bold independent women. So none of that is used. It's very fresh, it's very new, it's very nice, and it's a very very exciting take on feminism. And I haven't seen anything like this in Hindi cinema in the last many years. The script is really good. The script is really tight. It's really economic. A lot happens in the film. A lot happens in the movie. Actually, a lot goes on in a very short span of time. And we don't get bored, even though nothing big really happens. There's no, cars blowing up and bomb blasts and murders and rapes and shootings and bank robberies and those kind of heavy dramatic things. There's nothing like that. There's no melodrama either. There's very little melodrama. There's no hardcore crying, hardcore happiness, none of all that. So the film is void of melodrama. The film is void of huge events, and with its small events and its small happenings and its very internal emotions, it still manages to remain very entertaining and very exciting. The film also has this kind of energy which is very uncommon, but somehow it works. So it's eerie, it's strange, it's almost scary, but it's warm and funny at the same time. So if you see movies like Knives Out or Pagglait, they have that same eeriness, but they're still really funny and really warm. And that's what I really loved about this movie, that at moments I actually feel kind of scared that something bad is going to happen, yet the atmosphere of the film remains very light and very fun and very watchable. And the direction is very interesting too. It's sometimes you feel like you're watching an Amit Datta or a Wes Anderson movie, yet it's this mainstream commercial Hindi movie. So it blends that new trend of small town Hindi stories with this mainstream sort of big movie aesthetic with this artistic indie, very independent style. So it's a very nice mix of mainstream cinema with indie vibes. So it's really fun to watch, and there are certain scenes that really do stand out. The script is really good, like I said, and it has these interesting themes. It's very thick, full of texture. There's themes of religion, Indian folklore, mysticism, mythology, Ritual is a big part of this movie. So much is about rituals. What are the kind of rituals that we follow? How do they impact us? What do they mean? The stories behind those rituals. So these themes lend this film this otherworldly, almost fantasy element, and you always almost feel like you're watching something that is set in real space, but it's still really otherworldly, and you kind of doubt the reality. Like anything can happen. It's this fantasy land set in a real space. So that's there, and acting is great, direction is super fun, super fresh, super new. Script is also very fresh, very new. Very small events take place throughout the movie, like very internal events, very female oriented events. And I think the film is also trying to show something very nice, which is that women in society are naturally made and designed to pit one against the other. Like the way society works is that we pit one woman against the other for the affection of a man, or for a job, or for a position, or whatever it may be. And in this film, Sayani Gupta and Sanya Malhotra's relationship is kind of an ode to the fact that as women we should really lift each other up, and we should be there for each other, and we should understand each other and be empathetic towards each other. So I thought that angle was very interesting, although I do feel it's a little overdone, and it comes off a little sketchy and caricaturish, but the intention behind that was very good. Also, the religion aspect of the film, they kind of go ham on that. There's a lot of religious undertones of the film, which can be a little distracting when you're watching, and you do feel like maybe it's a little out of place, but again, very well intentioned. So I really enjoyed Pagglait, and I would definitely probably watch it again, just to kind of understand how to write something with so much going on. So yeah, check out Pagglait.